This is Bob Rotruck with your Phantoms preview. Welcome inside Androscoggin Bank Colisée. They call it Colisée, not Coliseum. A lot of French Canadians up here. We are live in Lewiston, Maine tonight for the Adirondack Phantoms and the Portland Pirates. The Pirates are playing 6 of their home games this year right here in this building instead of their regular building in Portland at the Cumberland County Civic Center. They're doing some refurbishments and some improvements there. This is the 5th out of 6 games for the Portland Pirates here in this old building. You can see behind me, there are not many rows. It's maybe about 10 rows high. It is a small building, much smaller than the Glens Falls Civic Center. It seats a little over 3,400, and that's if you pack and jam everybody into this place. It is a small barn built in the 1950s and kind of one of these old, just concrete and ice places. I was just talking with Terry Murray, the head coach of the Phantoms, about places like this in an interview that we recorded. I'm going to be playing that back on the intermission on tonight's radio broadcast. And there is a little bit of old school charm to places like this. You certainly get the noise level cranked up even if you don't get a big crowd, but when you do get a big crowd, man, it gets crazy. And it's in some ways like the Glens Falls Civic Center because that noise just bounces around the building so much. There is some history here, and it involves a Phantom as well, all the way back to almost 50 years ago. Amazing sports history here. 1965, Muhammad Ali, who I believe was still called Cassius Clay at the time, his Phantom Punch on Sonny Liston, the famous punch that maybe made contact or maybe didn't, knocked him out here. It was Ali Liston 2, that famous knockout punch, the Phantom Punch. It happened right here in this building, believe it or not. It's probably the most famous sports photograph in the world. The one where Ali is standing over Liston, a black and white photograph that I believe was in Sports Illustrated, and that is the most famous photograph. And you see that, and if you didn't know that that happened in Lewiston, Maine, of all places, you would think, well, this was in Madison Square Garden or it was in some big outdoor venue or something. No, it was right here in this very building. They were going to have the fight at the Boston Gardens. They had some sort of issues with getting the license there from one of the leagues, so they wouldn't do the fight at Boston. They had to scramble to find a last-second venue, and I think that's how it worked. I did a little research here, as you can tell, and it ended up being here. It's just amazing to think about that most famous sports picture in the world, and it happened here. And now the Portland Pirates are playing here as well. And man, the Pirates have a very good team. They're the affiliates of the Phoenix Coyotes. They are 16-11-2. Adirondack defeated Portland back on our opening night. That's the only time we played them this year. That was on October 13th. Braden Shen had a couple of goals. Couturier had a goal as well. Phantoms played a very good game. They won that game 6-3 over the Portland Pirates. But Portland, one of the highest scoring teams in the league, and they have some guys who can light it up. Rob Klinkhammer on this team only has 8 goals, but he did very well against Adirondack last year when Klinkhammer was with Binghamton. Had a hat trick among all of the goals that he scored against the Phantoms last season. Andy Mealy, number 21, is certainly a guy to watch out for. Won the Hobie Baker Award a couple years ago. That's college hockey's Heisman Trophy, basically, when he was with Miami of Ohio, and he is a top prospect in the Phoenix Coyotes system. Chris Brown has 10 goals and 17 points. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and he is a hard-shooting defenseman who played in the NHL last year. He's one of their send-downs. He has 7 goals from the blue line. Does Oliver Ekman-Larsson. One of those 7 goals came against the Phantoms back on October 13th. For Adirondack, of course, they are led by Braden Shen, who had that backhand breakaway goal. His 13th goal of the season came yesterday, but it was in a 4-2 loss, as it turned out at the very end. It was 3-2 up until the closing moments of that game against the Providence Bruins, and then a late empty netter. Talking with Terry Murray about it after the game, when he conversed with the media, I was a bit surprised at how disappointed Terry was in his team's play. I mean, they put up 45 shots, and a lot of them were very good. They ran into a very good goalie in that game in Nicholas Svedberg. But Terry Murray was talking in terms of, hey, we only played a 20-minute game, and that's not going to cut it. Too many turnovers, too many giveaways, not enough hustle defensively. That's what it sounded like he was addressing with the team, who had a long overnight bus ride to get up here at about 5 in the morning or so and unpack the bags. After tonight's game, trudging our way through the snow all the way back to Glens Falls, normally a 5.5-hour trip or so. It's going to take longer than that because the snow is still coming down here in this region, probably later than it is in Glens Falls, New York. So it'll feel a lot better if we can be leaving here with a win against a team that had just had a 6-game winning streak ended. The Portland Pirates are very good. Adirondack will have to be on their game. The home of the Phantom Punch from Muhammad Ali in 1965 is now the home of the Phantoms against the Portland Pirates tonight. It's at 7 o'clock and on the air with the Pepsi Countdown to Face-Off at 6:30 on Q101.7.